just to give you an overview of how this all came about, is that Melanie Claxton of Benedum, she's fairly new. This is her second year of being the education director, and some of you may have known Jim DeNova before that. But when she came, she really had the heart of listening to teachers and West Virginia teachers. She's from Pennsylvania. She was familiar with a lot of their initiatives and their needs and what they thought was important, but she thought it was really important to listen to West Virginia teachers. So she hosted, along with us, the West Virginia Public Education Collaborative and the Adventure Group, listening sessions for teachers, and they were centered around STEM, English language arts, special education, and career and technical engagement. And she really gathered a lot of valuable information from there. And she's very good about the fact that we're not going to ask you to give us input without doing something about it. So we came up with this mini grant process, and we tailored the application to the subjects that she found, that she used in this listening session. So that's why those are the topics that we're centered on. And the access to resources and professional development were the two things that really kept coming up time and time again, no matter if it was special ed teachers or STEM, just that teachers need access to more resources. And then, of course, the PD. And Kenyon and I, both being teachers, we can high five those things, definitely. So these issues called for teacher-led innovation, she thought, and we know that teachers are very innovative if they have the resources and the financial, help to do it. So we're really appreciative to Benedum for recognizing that. And we were awarded this funding to manage the Teacher Innovation Mini Grant and to also manage the review process, which Kenyon will talk more about. So not only through this program are we trying to give you resources that you need to innovate and continue to positively impact your students, but we also hope to solicit innovative ideas that can be shared with teachers throughout the state. Because I know how many times I used to hear about teachers doing something. I thought I could do that. And that's the whole point of it, just to provide models for teachers. So I'm going to turn it over to Kenyon right now to go over the grant and recommendations.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. We're really excited that you're here. Donna and I are really excited about this project in general. As she said, as former teachers, we understand that you need the resources and flexibility to meet the needs of your students, and we're hoping that this program helps alleviate that burden and give you the tools you need to succeed. What I'm going to go over in the next few minutes is the requirements and recommendations that we have that might guide your proposal. And then we'll also go over some of the resources that we have on our website. I'm going to drop into the chat right now the WVPEC's website. That's the easiest way to get there directly. So if you go to WVPEC.wvu.edu, it'll take you to our home page, which looks like this. You will see right there in the hero, the very first block, the Teacher Innovation Mini Grant is the priority at the moment. So if you click Learn More, it'll take you to a page that basically has everything you need to know about this program. I want to draw your attention to the PDF document that is linked here under Apply Today. This is the official request for proposals. It was designed with teachers in mind, so we hope that it's succinct and streamlined, and we hope that it's easily printed and used in your classroom. I want to sort of just share that we've tried to keep the time that you all have in the classroom in mind. We really don't want this to be a burdensome or cumbersome process. We know that you need to be there for your students, so we would rather you focus on that than filling out pages and pages of applications for us. So we've tried to streamline it as much as we could. On page On this
Here's what I
page,
found.
oh, I'm sorry. On this page, you will see the grant requirements and recommendations. The first one is that the applicant must be a student-facing educator with consistent access to P-12 students in West Virginia. Now, this might sound like weird phrasing, but we really wanted to open it up to all educators who have regular access to the same group of students. So that includes reading interventionists, math specialists, classroom teachers, as well as specialty teachers or resource teachers in the areas of CTE, art, math, or music, in those subject areas as well. So if you have any questions on that, please reach out to us. Just know that one of the things we're really going to sort of consider in the review phase is whether you have consistent access to the same group of students, because we want to see the impact that whatever innovation you develop has on that group. The proposals must also focus on one of the 5 categories that are listed here. As Donna mentioned earlier, these are issues that were brought up in the teacher listening sessions, and we tried to create categories that will meet your needs: career and technical education and entrepreneurship, English language arts, STEAM, special education, and family engagement. As you can see, these are really, really broad and wide open categories, and that's intentional. We want to make sure that you have the flexibility you need to qualify and meet the requirements of the grant. As far as project outcomes goes, we are requiring 2 project outcomes, one of which must describe the project's direct impact on students. So you will see in the application that outcome 1 is related to student growth, and then the other outcome you will have more flexibility with. So that may be an impact on your development as a teacher, the impact on your school, the impact on your community, or so forth. It can also be another student related outcome if you wish, but there are 2 outcomes required. Only 1 application per teacher will be considered. However, your school may submit multiple applications. So if there are other teachers in your building with other ideas that they would like to submit, please encourage them to do so. But only 1 application per teacher will be considered. And then finally, just the nuts and bolts of things, the application must be submitted by March 20th by midnight, at the end of the day on March 20th. So you have plenty of time. Like I said, we think the application is pretty streamlined. We hope it is anyway. And so you have a couple of months to get everything in order and get your ideas into us. A couple of recommendations. These are not required, but these will be things that our selection committee is looking at when they review the applications. Number 1, targeting students in need, right? And I encourage you to have a really open mind when it comes to that. We have listed students with special needs, students that are low SES, and English language learners here. But we know that there are all different types of students in need. So in your application, please make sure that you explain which population you'll be serving. That way it strengthens your proposal. At the PEC, as Donna mentioned earlier, we are really passionate about connecting the classroom to the real world. So any proposals that have real world impacts that benefit your community or extend learning outside of school walls will significantly increase consideration of your proposal. In a similar vein, leveraging community partnerships and getting other people in the community invested in your students and your school is always good news. Interdisciplinary work that goes beyond just your subject area, but really integrates other fields of study. And then finally, we don't want these projects to be one and done things, right? We want it to change your practice. We want it to change your school. So any potential to sustain beyond the funding cycle, which will be a year, is recommended. We want to make sure that there isn't just one group of students that can benefit from this project, and that in the future, other students will benefit as well. I'm going to pause right here because I know that's a lot of information. So if you have any questions, feel free to take yourself off mute or put it in the chat before we move on.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm in a Title I school. Can a homeroom teacher and a Title I teacher write one together? That's sort of a collaboration?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll scroll down here. When we get to the application, you'll see that you actually have to list a secondary contact name anyway. So you're welcome to write one together.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question. Okay. Moving on, just taking a quick look at the timeline here. This program was officially launched January 11th. Hopefully you've seen our social media presence, our communication presence through the department and the website and other channels. This is our first informational session. We will have another one on February 21st. It will be very similar to what we're discussing today, just hopefully with a new crop of teachers. And then that deadline is Monday, March 20th by midnight. And last but not least, during the months of April and May, our selection committee will review all the applications. They will make recommendations to the PEC and to Benedum, and then we will notify those selected recipients in June of 2023. You'll have approximately a year to fully implement your program over the following school year. And I do want to mention that at the end of that year, we will be having a showcase that allows you to demonstrate the work that your students and you have done throughout the year. Of course, there's more information, details to come from that, but that's something to look forward to as well. A little bit more about the selection committee. Of course, the selection committee will be comprised of our partners here at the WVPEC and some educators from the School of Education at West Virginia University. We will also have a presence from the West Virginia Department of Education to make sure that we're in alignment with their initiatives in the coming year. And then we'll also have representation from the Benedum Foundation, of course. So we have a really good group, all former teachers, I believe, that will be able to review your applications and make recommendations for funding. That takes us to page 4, which is the application preview. All proposals are going to be electronically submitted at that Qualtrics link, but to help you prepare for submission, we listed them all here. Again, it's it's streamlined into 2 sections. The first is applicant information, basic contact information, and then we have your project information. Again, just as a reminder, your project should fall into one of those categories. We're asking for a project description. And then in question 4, we're really wanting to know the inspiration and innovation behind this project, how it was developed and how it's going to challenge traditional teaching practices and create new student learning experiences. So I'm really looking forward to your responses on that question in particular, because I think we'll really get a good understanding of where you want to carry your teaching practice in the year ahead. As you'll see, the other questions sort of align with the requirements and recommendations that we outlined above. So things about the challenges or barriers your students face or the needs that they have, as well as how it is extending learning beyond school walls. In question 7, you will see that we're asking for a clear timeline from planning to implementation. Please include your start and end dates there, just so we have a good idea of the process throughout next school year of how your project will be implemented. The next section discusses sustainability and scale, which we've already mentioned above. The only nuance that I want to mention is question 8 and how specifically you'll address post-COVID-19 learning and how they'll become permanent classroom innovations. Looking at project impact, we have that outcome number 1, an achievable student outcome. We ask you to explain how you're going to measure success. I want to be very clear here that that doesn't mean that you have to have a formal assessment tool, right? We just want to know how you are going to be tracking student growth and the impact of your project on students throughout the year. I also want to note that regardless of what you choose as your outcomes, they will be the expectations of the grant if awarded. They will be the things that we will hold you to, so to speak, and we will be in regular contact about. The project budget form is on the following page. This is trying to be as simple as possible. We just want to know how the funding is going to be used and whether you have any in-kind support. In the last column here, we just ask for a brief narrative about how those funds will be spent. Finally, in the last page, we have your administration acknowledgement form, and this is basically just so your administrator is aware that you have applied and aware of the good work you're doing. And if you should be selected for funding, we want to make sure that it's sent to the right place. And so we may reach out to your administrator for help with that. And of course, we'll be working with you as well. If you are working with any community partners or people outside the classroom, we also ask that you list them here, just so we know who the project staff is and the leaders of whatever initiative you decide to implement. Lastly, here is our contact information. Hopefully you all have mine and Donna's. It's all over our website. Like I said, I also posted our main page in the chat, and here's the direct link to the Teacher Innovation Program. I want to briefly go over the website and just some of the things that we have there. But before doing so, I'll pause again in case you have any questions. Okay. So under Apply Today, we have the request for proposals document that we just went through together. Here is the link to the application. When you pull it up, it will look like this. It has all of the questions in the exact same format that you saw in the RFP, except for the county information, which you'll be able to select there. You will click through the different sections and then hit submit. You'll receive a screen that says, "Thank you for your submission." And once you receive that screen, that is confirmation that your proposal or application has been received. In the middle block, we have information about the sessions that we're holding. I also want to share that we are offering individual meetings if you'd like to talk about your specific idea in more depth. To set up one of those appointments with either Donna or myself, please email me and I will check our calendars and see who is available at the time that you need to meet. And we can spend some time talking through your ideas or any questions you may have. Then, of course, if you'd like to join us for that February 21st session as well, the registration link is there. However, like I mentioned earlier, it'll be basically identical to what we are doing today. Finally, we have our resources and forms section. Again, you'll see a link to the request for proposals. To make things easier for you, there is also a downloadable and fillable version of the mini grant form. So you can just download this to your computer, fill it in, and upload it with your application. There's also one for the acknowledgement form. And then lastly, I want to just share some inspiration from Allegheny Intermediate Unit 1. They have a similar program that they have implemented in Southwestern Pennsylvania. And after they've awarded their projects and implemented their projects, the staff there has created this awesome quick guide to the number of great projects that they have going on there. So if you're looking for inspiration in any of these areas, I encourage you to check this out. It even gives you contact information if you want to reach out to one of the project directors there, and really tells you about the project itself and then steps to get started, as well as any materials or budget that you might need and the students it serves. I can't thank Sarah Durzo and our partners at IU1 enough. They've been a great thought partner in this process. And I'm really hoping that we get to see the same level of innovative instruction and practice through our program as they have seen in theirs. So I will go back to the website. Again, the easiest way to get there is to go to wvpec.wvu.edu and then click on Learn More under Teacher Innovation Grants. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Donna, I will toss it back to you for questions.
Great. Just wanted to say really quickly that Amber Ravencroft has joined us from the adventure group. Well, she's been here all along. And, you know, as I said, they were really a big, they facilitated those listening sessions. And I'm sure it's exciting for Amber to see it kind of come to fruition, you know, where it's really going to get down to the classroom level. So thank you, Amber.